Hello everyone. Today we are going to solve a LRDI set which came in CAT 2023. This is a beautiful set and which appears to be a set of bar graph, but a little tricky one. And there is a beautiful integration of Venn diagram into this set. So let's quickly look at the set. So the chart below provides the complete information about the number of countries visited by Dheeraj, Samantha, and Nitesh in Asia, Europe, and rest of the world. Rest of the world is donated by ROW, right? So we have look at the bar graph that we have in this Asia. We have Asia is 3. So Dheeraj has visited 3 countries in Asia, 7 countries in Europe, and 1 country in ROW. Similarly, we have 0 countries for who 0 country visited by Samantha in Asia, and we have 9 countries which are visited by Samantha in Europe, and we have 4 countries visited by Samantha in the rest of the world. Similarly, if you look at this, so we have this is as 1, which is this is 1, this is 6, and this is 12. So I can say Nitesh has traveled 1 country in the Asia, 6 countries in Europe, and 12 countries in rest of the world. So this is all about the bar graph, right? Now some information is also given here, right? Now look at the information. Let's quickly read all the information and then we'll solve the set. Now, the following additional facts are also known about the countries visited by them. First is the 32 countries were visited by at least one of them. Okay, so it says at least one of them means either only Dheeraj, only Samantha, or only Nitesh must have covered or must have traveled for these 32 countries, or I can say a combination of Dheeraj or Samantha, Samantha or Nitesh, or Dheeraj or Nitesh has traveled for 32 countries. And also we can say all 3 because it says at least one of them. So at least one of them means what? There will be only one or both 1 and 2 and all 1, 2, and 3, right? So there will be 3 combination, either Dheeraj or Samantha or Nitesh, or I can say the combination of 2, which can be Dheeraj and Samantha, Samantha and Nitesh, or Dheeraj and Nitesh can have traveled to these countries, to these 32 countries. Now, look at the second statement. Now, USA, which is in rest of the world, in none of the Asia or the Europe, is the only country that was visited by all the, okay, so this is a straightforward information that is given to you that USA is the only country which is visited by. This is very, very, very important. I know very important information provided in the second statement. We'll use it directly in our Venn diagram. I said this is an integration of, this set is a beautiful integration of Venn diagram with us, right? Now, third, China in Asia. Okay, so China, which is given as in the Asia continent, is the only country that was visited by both Dheeraj and Nitesh, but not by Samantha. That means what? China is the only country which is visited by Dheeraj and Nitesh only, not Samantha. So Samantha has not visited this country, right? Statement number 4. Look at this. France in Europe, okay, France which is in Europe, is the only country outside Asia. Okay, so this is the only country which is outside Asia, which is visited by both Dheeraj and Samantha, but not by Nitesh. But one thing you need to be very clear about is that the Samantha has not traveled a single country in Asia, right? So that is why France is the country which is outside Asia, which is visited by Dheeraj and Samantha, but not by the Nitesh. So if Samantha is visiting, that country has to be outside of Asia, either in Europe, or you can say in the rest of the world, right? Fifth statement. Look at this. Half of the countries visited by both Samantha and Nitesh are in Europe. Half of the country. So we don't, as of now, we don't know the total number of countries visited by Samantha and Nitesh altogether. Both of them has together how many countries they have traveled, we don't know. So but whatever is the value, half of that number is half of those number will be in the euro, right? So this was all about the set, right? So what we could have done here is, let's quickly find out Dheeraj, Samantha, and Nitesh have traveled how many countries and what different continents, right? So let's say Now, from here, I can say, okay, so the Dheeraj has traveled 3 countries in Europe, and this is 7, and this is 1. So I can say, here I can say, this Dheeraj in Asia will be 3. In Europe, this is going to be 7, and rest of the world, this is going to be 1. So I can say the total traveled, all the different or different countries which are visited by Dheeraj is 7 plus 3 plus 1, that is equals to 11. So there is a total of 11 countries which are visited by Dheeraj. Right. Similarly, if you go over Samantha, Samantha has 0 country visited in Asia. So this is 0. Europe, this is going to be 9, and this is 4. Right. So Samantha has traveled 0 countries in Asia, 9 countries in Europe, and 4 countries in the rest of the world. So the total countries which are visited by the Samantha is 9 and 4, which is 13. Right. Similarly, we can go for Nitesh. Nitesh has traveled 1 country in Asia. We have 6 countries visited by him in Europe, and 12 countries visited in rest of the world. Right. So this is going to be 1. This is 6. And this is going to be 12. So 12 plus 6 is 18 plus 1. This is 19. So all the countries, or the total number of countries which is visited in Asia by all these 3 people will be 3 plus 1. So there are 4 countries, or there are 4 different visits. At the same time, I can say in Europe, this is 9 plus 7. This is 9 plus 7 is, we have 16 plus 6. 9 and 7 is 16 plus 6 is, this is 22, and this is 16 plus 1, 17. So a total of, this is 26 plus 7 is 33, 33 plus 10 is 43. So a total number of visits there are of 43. This is a very important information that we have derived. Right. Now, look at this. So there are a total of 11 countries visited by Dheeraj, 13 by Samantha, and 19 by Nitesh, a total of 13. So these are not the 43 countries. These are not countries which are visited by all these 3, Dheeraj, Samantha, and Nitesh. Basically, these are the 43 visits this is given. There are 43 visits given by these 3 people in different countries, right? So there must be some overlap. So I can say, let's say if any country, I can say, let's say there's a China. China is a country, right? In Asia, according to the question, right? Right. So I can say Dheeraj alone must have, if Dheeraj can alone travel, Samantha alone, or Nitesh can alone visit China. Again, I can say there is a combination again. So in that case, if I'm saying that Dheeraj and Samantha both have covered China, so can I say China must have covered or counted twice when I'm saying there are 43 visits. So when I'm saying there are 43 total number of visits, they're not the countries at all, right? Now, so let's quickly look at the now let's derive what are the combination that we can make out of the given countries that we have. Now, since we have noticed that there are these many number of visits, or total number of 43 visits altogether. Now, let's bifurcate this. Now, since we have a total of 43 visits, let's quickly bifurcate this. So let's say this shows this circle shows the countries, represents the countries visited by Dheeraj. This circle shows the countries visited by, let's say this is Samantha, and this circle represents the countries visited by Nitesh. Let's look at this. This is Nitesh. Yeah. So Nitesh. Now I can say, so Dheeraj had traveled a total of 11 countries. Samantha has covered a total of 13, traveled for a total of 13 countries, and Nitesh has covered a total of we have 19 countries altogether. Right. Now, let's say we have 7 different regions in the given Venn diagram. So let's name it. Let's A, this is B, this is, let's say, C, this is D, this is E, this is F, and this is G. So let's assume That what is let's quickly do this. A is the countries which is visited only by this A is the number of countries which is visited by only by Dheeraj. B will represent the countries which is visited at only by Samantha, and C will represent the countries which is visited by only and only by Nitesh. No, there is no overlap or no intersection as such. Similarly, if you see D is the number of countries which is visited by Dheeraj and Samantha, not by the Nitesh. So this is the combination. This is the reason where this is the overlap of Dheeraj and Samantha only. There is no intersection with the Nitesh, right? Similarly, if you see E is the overlap of Samantha and Nitesh, and there is no intersection with the D. So E will be the total number of countries visited by Samantha and Nitesh together, not involved. Dheeraj is not involved at all. Similarly, if you see F is the combination of Dheeraj and Nitesh and not Samantha. That means Samantha must have not visited those countries which is visited by Dheeraj and Nitesh alone. And finally, if you see at G is the total number of countries which is visited by all the three, Dheeraj, Nitesh and Samantha, right? So I think this is clear to everyone. Now let's quickly read the statements which is given to us so that we can confer some data, we can extract some data, right? So this is A, this was B, right? Now, first, 32 countries were visited by at least one of them. Okay, so I already have explained this this statement. 32 countries were visited by at least one of them. That means the combination of all three. I can say only Dheeraj, only Samantha, or only Nitesh must have covered, and the combination of two or the combination of three. So now, looking at the first statement, I can derive an equation out of that, right? Where I can write, oh, okay, so A, which is the only Dheeraj, plus B, which is the only Samantha, plus C, which is only Nitesh, plus D, which is Samantha and Dheeraj together, not Nitesh, plus E, which is Samantha and Nitesh, not Dheeraj, plus F, which is Nitesh and Dheeraj, not Samantha, and finally G, which is all three. That has to be all these the sum of regions of sum of numbers in all these regions has to be what? Has to be 32, right? This is 32. So we got our first equation out of the first statement which is given to us. Similarly, now if we add these circles individually, so I can write, for this is actually this is F. So I can write this circles individually. For example, for D, I can write A, D, G, F. So A plus D plus G plus F. If we'll add for Samantha, it is D plus B plus E plus G. And if we'll add for Nitesh, it is E plus F plus C plus G. And if we'll continue to do so, I can write. So all these sections, all these circles are individually added. Now I can say this is 11 plus 13 plus 19, which is 11 plus 13 plus 19, which is equals to, this is 19, 322, 42, 43. So this is total sum will be equals to 43. The total sum is equals to 43, right? So, but from here I can do one more thing. Now, if we'll rearrange the second statement, I can get A plus B plus C. From here, I can get A, we have a B and a C. And if we'll see, we have 2D, we have 2Ds, 2E and 2Fs, right? So I can write plus 2 into D plus E plus F, and also we'll get 3G, 1G, 2G and 3G. So this is 3G. Okay, and that is equals to how much? 43. Now we have the first equation. This is my second equation. So if we'll subtract second equation minus first equation, we'll get A, B, C cancelled out. 2D, 2E, 2F. I'll just write it. So this is A plus B plus C plus 2 into D plus E plus F plus 3G is equals to 43, and we have A plus B plus C plus D plus E plus F plus G is equals to 32. So if we'll subtract these two equations, we'll get D plus E plus F plus G, and that is equals to 11. And basically this is not G, this is 2G, right? So this is 2G. I think this much is clear to everyone, right? Let's keep this equation apart for some time. Let's say this is, let's say equation number 3. Let's keep this equation apart for some time. Now, let's look at the second statement. Second statement that we have is USA in ROW is the only country that was visited by all of them. Okay, so now we have the value of G. That is the look at this statement very carefully. This is the only country. This only statement, only word is very much important in this statement. That so USA is the only country that was visited by all three of them, right? So can I say this only one country, which is the value of, basically this is the value of G which is given to us. This is the one, and that country is USA, and which is in ROW. I'll just signify this very important word, right? Look at the question number 3. So I marked, we have completely used the statement number 1. Now I am looking at, we already have, also you have used the second statement. Now look at the third one. Now, China is the only country that was visited by both Dheeraj and Nitesh, but not by Samantha. Okay, so China, which is in Asia, right? So is the only country. Again, this only country is very important, guys, because that shows this is the only country which is visited by Dheeraj and Nitesh, both combination of Dheeraj, not Samantha, only Dheeraj and Nitesh, right? So Dheeraj, here we have Dheeraj, we have Nitesh, the combination. So can I say this F is also equals to 1, which is China, and China, which is in Asia. I'll write it. This is Asia, right? Right? And from this, we are done with this third statement. Now look at the fourth statement. France in Europe is the only country, right? France in Europe is the only country outside Asia. So France is outside of here. That can be, which is in Europe, right? And also, which is visited by both Dheeraj and Samantha, but not by the Nitesh. And this country, France, if Samantha is visiting this place, right, this has to be outside of Asia, because we know Samantha has not visited any country in Asia. That look at the table we have. Right now, so France in Europe is the only country outside Asia which is visited by both Dheeraj and Samantha. Right, so Dheeraj, we have Dheeraj. This is Dheeraj, this is Samantha. Now I can say D is equals to 1. D is the only, and that country is France. This country is France, and France is where this is in Europe. Right, we're done with this. Now, fourth statement is also taken care of. Now look at the fifth statement. Half of the country visited by both Samantha and Nitesh are in Europe. But as of now, we don't know what are the countries that is visited by Samantha and Nitesh, right? Total number of countries which is visited by Samantha. But look at this. What is the meaning of the statement? Half of the country visited. Forget about the first part. Now look at this. Visited by both Samantha and Nitesh in the Europe. Is it only Nitesh and Samantha? So can I say this reason is where I can say, yes, this is the reason that represents the area, or so represents the number of countries visited by Samantha and Nitesh. But at the same time, can I also say, oh, the overlap of all three, the part of G, this is also this area also represents the countries which is visited by Samantha and Nitesh, because this is visited by all three of them. So all three of them, Dheeraj, Nitesh, and Samantha has traveled. That means Nitesh and Dheeraj also have, Nitesh and Samantha must have traveled this, right? So can I say half of the country visited by Samantha and Nitesh, this area, both Samantha and Nitesh, this area represents E plus G. Very important, very important, right? Now, let's quickly look at what are the countries, or the number of countries which is visited by alone by Dheeraj, by Nitesh, and by Samantha, right? So we can get the value of 1. So the sum of these circles, the entire circle for Dheeraj has to be 11. So we have 1, 1, 1, and 3. So can I say A has to be 11 minus 3, that is equals to 8. The value of A is equals to 8. Similarly, we can get the value of B. B will be how much? B will be equals to 1 plus 1, 2. We don't know the value of E, but we can get half of the country. So as of now, we cannot get the value of B. Okay, so because we don't have the value of E, but what we know is Samantha has traveled a total number of 13 countries, right? Yes. Now, so this is 1, right? Now, let's, so now we, since from using now, now use this equation. Now we have D, right? So we have D is equals to 1. Right? We also know that we don't have the value of E. Yes, we have the value of F, which is equals to 1. And also we have the value of G, that is also 1. So what we can get from here is E is equals to, this is 1 plus 1, 2, and 2 into 1 is 2. So, right, so that is equals to 11 minus 1 plus 1 plus 2. This is 2 plus 3 plus 1 is 4. So that is equals to 4. 11 minus 4, E is equals to, now we got E is equals to 7. A very important information that we got, that E is equals to 7. Very, very important, right? Now we can get the value of B. So S total is 13. This is 7 plus 1, 8, 8 plus 1, 9. So B has to be 4, right? Similarly, C as a total, Nitesh, is this circle has to be 19. So this is 7 plus 1, 8, 8 plus 1, 9. So C has to be 10. 7 plus 1, 8, 8 plus 1, 9. So C has to be 10. Is it? I think this much is clear to everyone. Now we need to figure out which are the countries, and let's suppose we have a total of 8 countries which is visited by Dheeraj, only Dheeraj. We need to find out the continents that we have. Now this is the time where we can use our fifth statement. Now look at the fifth statement that we have. I'll erase these things, right? So now look at the fifth statement that we have. Fifth statement, half of the countries visited by Samantha and Nitesh are in Europe. Now, what is the total number of countries visited by Samantha and Samantha? This is Samantha and Nitesh together. That is 7 plus 1, 8. So Samantha and Nitesh together has covered 8, and half of them is Europe. So 4 are in Europe, right? 4 are in Europe. Now, out of 8 countries, 1 country is ROW, which is USA. Now, out of these 7 countries, if we'll bifurcate this, there are 4 countries in Europe. I'll write EU as Europe. Right. Since we also know that Samantha has not traveled a single country in Asia, right? In that case, can I say rest 3 has to be ROW? These 3 has to be ROW. I think this is clear. So now I can say a total of 3 plus 1, 4 countries in ROW, which is rest of the world, which is traveled by Samantha and Nitesh together. Similarly, now we know that Samantha has traveled a total of 4 in ROW, which is already covered here. This 4 is ROW. Now, in that case, can I say this? Sorry, 4 in EU. I'm so sorry. Samantha has traveled a total of 9 in Europe. Now we have Europe, 4 Europe here, right? This is 4 Europe. Right, and 1 Europe is also here. So this is 4 plus 1, 5 Europe, and a total of 9. So can I say this 4 country has to be Europe? Why this is Europe? Because Samantha has traveled a total of 9 countries in Europe. So 1 country, which is the France, 4 in EU, which is the Europe, which she traveled with Nitesh. Right, so 4 plus 1, 5, and the remaining 4, this has to be, this is the only 4 countries which I can give as the Europe to Samantha, right? So this 4 countries will be Europe, right? Now, out of 8 countries, let's quickly look at the Dheeraj. Dheeraj has 8 countries who visited alone. Now, out of 8 countries, Dheeraj has traveled 3 Asia. Now, we have Dheeraj ke liye, we have only 1 Asia here, right? So can I say this, out of this, 2 will be Asia? This will be 2 will be Asia. So a total of, this is ROW, this is Europe, and this is Asia. So this is only 1 Asia as of now, which is China. So 2 will be Asia, and the rest 6 will be what? 6. Now look at this. How many countries he have visited in Europe? He visited only in ROW, which is already done in as USA, right? So we have 6 countries which he visited in, that will be Europe. Right, now this is Europe, 6 countries here and 1 country here. So this is a total of 6 and plus 1, a total of 8 countries. So I think this is how we are done. Now similarly, if you look at C ke liye, if you see, Nitish has traveled one country in Asia, which is already done, which is China, right? He has traveled 6 countries in Europe, which out of that 4 is already done. So 4 is in Europe. So I'm left with 2 countries in Europe. So out of this 10, I can say 2 in Europe, right? 2 in Europe. And he has traveled 12 countries in ROW. So ROW, he has 1 country in ROW and 1 and 3, 4. So the rest 8 has to be ROW. This ROW. This is how we have concluded the set. Now let's quickly look at the questions and solve it. First question. How many countries in Asia were visited by at least one of Dheeraj Samantha and Nitesh? How many countries in Asia were visited by at least one of Dheeraj Samantha? At least one of them, right? So at least one of them means only, I can say only Dheeraj, only Samantha, or only Nitesh, or any combination of 2, or all 3 of them, right? So look at this. So we have 2 by Dheeraj, right? No by Samantha, right? 2 plus 1, 3, right? So any combination, look at this quickly. So only Dheeraj has covered 2. So my answer will be 2 plus. Samantha has not traveled any country in Asia. Okay, so this is done. Now I can also say 1 by China. So this is 2 plus 1, that is equals to 3. 3. There are 3 countries, a total. How many countries in Asia were visited by at least one of them? Dheeraj, Samantha, and Nitesh, that is equals to 3. There are 3 countries, right? So let's quickly check it once more. So this is 2 countries and plus 1. Yes, 3 is the correct answer, right? Now look at the second question. How many countries in Europe were visited only by Nitesh? Only by Nitesh. Nitesh has covered 2 countries in Europe. 2 countries in Europe. So the answer for this question is 2. Right? Third question. How many countries in ROW were visited by both Nitesh and Samantha? Now again, this is very important and very tricky line. This says Nitesh plus Samantha, but the statement doesn't say not Dheeraj. So this will be the combination of Nitesh and Samantha both, has to be the combination of this and this. Only Nitesh and Samantha plus all 3. Nitesh and Samantha, all 3. So this is the question says. The question is how many ROW, right? So one ROW is this one, and the is 3 plus 1 is 4. The correct answer is 4, right? Now, how many countries in Europe is visited by exactly one of Dheeraj, Samantha, and Nitesh? Exactly one out of them. Exactly one out. How many countries in Europe, right? The Europe, Dheeraj, exactly one out of them, right? So how many countries there? So there are 6 countries in Europe. This is visited only by Dheeraj. There are 4 countries in Europe, 4 and 2. So 6 first plus 2, 12. There are a total of 12 countries. So the answer for this question is 12. 12 is the correct answer. It's a lovely set with a true essence of, I can say, Venn diagram and the bar graph. Thank you so much for watching the video.